Okay.
We are recording.
All right, welcome everyone. My name is Marilyn Wills and I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Tyler, Smith County. And with me today are LaRhonda Hamilton. She's our community relations vice president. We have Rubye Kendrick, who is our vice president for program. And we have Tammy Burnette, and she's the vice president for voter services. And we're continuing our new series on Zoom, which is called Coffee with Local Elected Officials. And today we're really pleased to bring you Broderick McGee, and he is a city councilman for District 2 of Tyler, Texas. Welcome, Councilman McGee.
Thank you. Glad
We really
to be here.
appreciate you coming. We hope you got the League of Women Voters mug that we sent over to you.
I hadn't gotten it yet. I think it's still at the still at the office, but I got an email that it was there, so they can't be trying to hide it from me.
Okay. Well, we were hoping that you'd have it so that we could have it with our coffee with, but anyway,
Right.
We really thank you for being here today. And as you know, or probably know about the League, that one of our priorities is to help people understand who represents them, how their government functions, and also how they can interact with that government to have a voice.
Okay.
And so some of our questions will be around that, and then we'll also have some very specific areas of concern that were brought to our attention that we'll be asking you about.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of our conversation today. And I want to start out with asking you about your position, because as a city council person, a lot of people don't know that that's not a paid position, and
No, it's not.
that makes it so much more challenging
Right.
for our mayor and city council
Mm-hmm.
to operate. So can you kind of briefly describe for our listeners how you work with the city mayor, the city manager, the county commissioners, the other council people, how you work together to get things done?
Well, the main thing is you have to have a good, working relationship. And it's kind of difficult for us because we only see each other twice a month. It's not like we work together every day,
Right.
and we can do different things. And even with our position, you can't really discuss a lot of things behind closed doors and, all of us together in a group. We can't have a meeting before the meeting. And so a lot of things that we have to deal with, we have to do our own research. We have to do our own, read a lot about what's going on in our district and even in the city, because when we come to the council meetings, we meet twice a month. Sometimes that's the first time we actually get a chance to really interact with each other and talk with each other. So it takes some time to be able to do that. And it takes a special, type of relationship to be able to have that. When you do walk in, on the second and fourth Wednesday morning, and you see your fellow council members, that you've already kind of done your due diligence as to what's going to be on the agenda for that day, and how we, go about, taking care of the business of the city. And, we have a really, really good group right now. I'm not saying that the other groups have not been good, but this is my second term, so I'm serving right now with a new mayor and two council people, and so it's very rewarding because everybody brings something different to the table. So now we're kind of in that learning phase of kind of learning each other to see, hey, what is your specialty, or what are you passionate about? And so it's always going to be a learning experience, when you have new council members coming on board.
How do you connect with your constituents?
Well, of course, right now, social media is really the main, way where people can kind of keep up with what's going on in your district. And what I try to do is if there's something pertaining to my district or even the city, I try to make sure I share it on my page. And with COVID going on, and you can't really have a lot of face-to-face meetings, because now this time I probably would have had some type of town hall or something where I could bring a lot of people together. And hopefully I'll be able to do that within the next couple of months, even, still requiring masks, even though the governor said we don't have to. I think it's just still safe that if you're going to be doing any type of indoor gatherings like that, that you will have to do that. And so, believe me, my constituents have my phone number. When we were out, hey, when we were out of power, believe me, I heard it. I told them, I said, if I could wave my magic wand to make your lights come back on, I would do it. But anytime they called about water and different things like that, they definitely know how to get in touch with you when they need it.
Well, that's good to know.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to have some very specific questions now, and we'll start with Rubye.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon again. Thank you
Good
for
afternoon.
today. My first question is related to housing.
Okay.
And affordable housing and governmental funding for housing has typically been a problem in Smith County, and it contributes to homelessness.
Right.
And certainly this problem has been exacerbated by COVID-19. What would you do differently, if anything, to address the shortage of affordable housing in Tyler, and particularly related to homeless population?
Okay. Well, the main thing is to try to, first of all, find more money, because I can attest to the fact that the money that we do receive for housing, that's what it's actually earmarked for, and that's what we use it for. Just to give you an example, we just recently, a few months ago, reduced the amount of square footage that was required for affordable housing, in certain areas. And the reason being because I received a lot of feedback from contractors that saying, hey, they were telling us that we can't build an affordable house under 1,600 square feet. I said, some people don't even need some people may not want a house that big.
Yeah.
And so what we did with the council, we went back and reduced it to about 1,300 square feet. So now it allows those contractors to come in and build those affordable houses, and then be able to get, help with funding as far as the sidewalks, the curb and gutter, and and different things like that. And we're also in the process of building a subdivision behind the new fire station right on Gentry. It's going to be a whole new subdivision, and all those houses will be affordable houses. There's going to be probably at least 20 brand new houses for people to come in and purchase, and they will be considered affordable housing, and they're all funded through the housing department. And then on top of that, they're actually out for bid right now, and we're hoping to get, probably within the next maybe a couple of weeks, we'll know which contractor has been awarded that bid and where we can start building. The streets are already, I don't know if you even notice it or not, but go over behind the new fire station, and you'll see we've already put the streets in and putting all the infrastructure in, and so it's going to be really great.
Wow, that's exciting.
But we have to do more. I mean, we have to do more. I happen to be in Austin the last couple of days, and I know we say we have homeless. You haven't seen, I mean, I don't know when last time you guys have been to Austin, but it is really sad. And so we have to do something as a county and as a city to make sure we don't get nowhere near what's going on in Austin right now. And so I'm going to do my part to try to make sure that we do get more programs and, more housing developments to where people can't afford those, because everybody doesn't want to live in a big house. And so we got to make sure that we get that opportunity to give that to the people.
How do they get on a list if they're interested in that kind of housing?
Go to the neighborhood services.
Neighborhood services?
Yeah, you go to neighborhood services, and then you can put in your application and be considered for one of those houses.
Okay.
Are those houses?
And that's just one. I'm sorry.
Are the houses only for limited income? Or is
Yes.
there anyone who want to purchase?
Yes, it will be limited. Yeah, you will have to meet certain criteria to get those houses. Yes.
Okay.
So that means you don't qualify, LaRhonda.
Oh, I'm in the bottom of the bottom when it
No,
comes.
you're
Okay, well, LaRhonda's going to ask you a question now.
Okay.
Okay, so you had mentioned in a previous interview with the Tyler Loop that one of your goals for Tyler city government was to establish diversity in leadership positions in Tyler. How is that going? And what do you believe needs to be done to accomplish this goal?
Well, the first thing is we have to get, diverse people to apply for these positions. Prime example, even with Leadership Tyler. When I went through Leadership Tyler, I was the only person that looked like me, the only one. And so so years later, I had an opportunity to serve, as a person, as one of the interviewees for people coming through Leadership Tyler. And I shared it with the director. We met, she came to my office and we met, and I told her, I said, one of my main, issues is there's nobody that look like me. So why would I want to apply to be in this particular, leadership position or leadership organization if no one looks like me? And so we have to get more people, diverse people, to get in these organizations to where they can be, looked at as, hey, these are our up and coming leaders, for the city of Tyler. And so that's my main focus. So I don't know if you noticed the last few classes of Leadership Tyler, you've seen a lot more people, you've seen a lot more diversity in those classes.
Right.
And I think that's what we got to try to drive people to those leadership organizations, because, a lot of times people will never get noticed if you don't ever put yourself out there.
Right.
Me putting myself out there, when I went for Leadership Tyler, I had no earthly idea that I was going to run for city council. It was nowhere in the back of my mind. But because somebody recognized, the potential that I had, they actually approached me and say, hey, would you be interested in running, for city council? Or would you be interested in serving on this board or that board? Right. So we have to put ourselves out there. We know, we can't wait for people to come to us. We have to make ourselves available. So that's what I'm trying to do, is encourage diversity in all organizations. That, hey, let's get out there and see what's available.
Absolutely.
And why don't you tell them what Leadership Tyler actually is and who manages it? Because that might be something that somebody didn't know about and they could connect with Leadership Tyler.
Yeah, it's a leadership organization, and what they do is every year they put out where you can actually apply to be a part of this program. And I think they usually take about anywhere from 30 to 35 people maybe in the program. And what you do is you go through different aspects, of the city, city government. When I went through it, we actually toured the juvenile detention center. We had what they call a poverty simulation, to where, I think the poverty simulation is the most impactful thing I've ever been through. We were all in this big, huge, I think like a gymnasium or whatever. And they had different areas set up. They maybe have like housing here, job here, grocery store here, whatever. And, you were only given a certain amount of money to as a family to make it through the day or whatever. And so, you would get bad news. Somebody would knock on your door and say, hey, you've been terminated from your job. Then you would have to leave and say, well, I need to go to the grocery store. You may go to the grocery store and come back, and all of a sudden, all of your stuff is sitting outside on the street because you haven't been able to pay your rent. I mean, it was just a big, huge simulation. So what it does, it makes people realize the importance of being a part, of a leadership organization. And so Leadership Tyler, you go to leadershiptyler.org. Smitty Root is the executive director right now. And I think the application process probably starts around maybe April or May.
April. It's on my list of things to do.
Is it April?
Me too, Rubye.
It's on my list of things to do.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was. It was on my list last year, but at any rate, it
was on mine too, and I forgot. I'm a leadership Texarkana 2013 graduate.
Okay.
And, I do want to do a Leadership Tyler. I guess I'm not sure how that works, Tammy, with the administration, at work. But
they meet once a month.
I'm gonna need a loan.
I got you.
I'm gonna need a loan.
We'll find it. I think they have scholarships. We'll find a way. So I don't want.
Add me to that help list then.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I don't want anybody to think, because it is a fee to join, and most employers, like my employer, paid for me to go.
Yeah.
So some employers will subsidize it and pay for the employees, but if not, I think they do have scholarships available to where
they do too.
apply for those. And, you know, and two, you mentioned Leadership Texarkana, you know, Leadership Tyler is once a month. When I did it, I think it was maybe the fourth Thursday of the month. So that was your commitment, just that once a month.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's very impactful. So it's not it doesn't require a lot of time. I think it's a 9 month, maybe 9 months that the whole process is going on. But yeah, it's just once a month.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, it's a life-changing event. It really is.
Okay, Tammy has a
I
question.
think I've got the next question.
Okay.
Councilman McGee, as we all know, the healthcare is a crisis in Smith County. Healthcare is a crisis in Texas. Healthcare or access to healthcare is a
Right.
crisis in the United States. So the question that I have today is, Tyler is known as having some of the most outstanding healthcare facilities and resources in Texas.
Right.
Due to the economic impact of COVID-19, what challenges do you see people are having gaining access to healthcare in Smith County? Because we have the resources, but the problem nationwide is access to those resources.
Well, again, you know, I talk about kind of the same thing with what we talked about the diversity. I think it's about letting people know what's out there. And I got to put this plug in for Bethesda Health Clinic. Bethesda Health Clinic, a lot of people don't know what Bethesda Health Clinic does and what they are. I didn't really know it until I started working there. And so once I started there, I realized what Bethesda Health Clinic does is that it provides healthcare for the underinsured or non-insured. And so a lot of people, and I'm thinking, why aren't people, we should be busting out the seams, you know, where people can come and get healthcare. So it's there. I think it's just about, you know, publicity. How do we get the word out about these organizations? And then to make people feel like it's nothing wrong with having to come somewhere when you need help. You know, and I know some people are prideful and they don't want people to know or whatever, but we got to get past that, because healthcare, I mean, is very important. And a lot of things, a lot of people, you know, are dying that don't have to, because, you know, a lot of things that can be early detected can be fixed if we get people in a timely manner. And so I think the main thing we have to work on is, like you say, the resources are there. You know, as far as the access, I think people just need to know more about what is this organization? What does it do? How can I be a part of it? How can I get in? You know, and so that's what I'm thinking.
I do appreciate the term that you used as far as underinsured, because I think that you are right that so many resources are available to the uninsured, but
Yes,
a family that is struggling, that has a $5,000 or $10,000 deductible
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
co-insurance
Right.
are
Right.
just as uninsured.
They sure.
They don't have access to those. So
Yeah, exactly.
I do appreciate that knowledge of Bethesda, because our underinsured is just as vulnerable as the uninsured. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sure.
And can I tack on a question that we didn't have necessarily scheduled for that, but it's a healthcare question.
Okay.
We're going to put together a forum on mental health issues.
Okay.
And we were wondering if you could tell us what kinds of things you're running into, especially in your district, in terms of not having access to help for problems that are mentally.
Well, and I guess I got to plug Bethesda again.
Okay.
That's another thing that they actually offer is mental health counseling, and we meet every week. We meet every week, and we have counselors that are available, but we don't have the people to come see the counselors.
Really?
So yes,
Wow.
it's free.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
so it's like,
Okay.
why aren't these people coming to get this
Yeah.
counseling?
Do they know about it, Councilman McGee?
You know what? Again, it's there, and I think we maybe just need to do a better job of, if you know somebody that needs any type of mental health counseling, they can come to Bethesda. I mean,
And
they
it's
can.
free. Wow.
I
Okay.
said that.
We'll
I
need
mean,
to-
Well, I mean,
free
yeah.
or very free. It's something like this.
Gotcha. Okay.
We'll need to
Okay.
make sure that we include that then in our forum.
Yeah,
Very
they-
much so.
yeah. And like you say, I don't, if somebody come to me with any type of mental health, I'm not a mental health counselor, I'm telling you. And I've had to deal with some things personally, with, some family members. And I'm telling you, it's when you don't have the capability and you don't have the knowledge to deal with different things like that, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, whatever issues that you're going through, you have to have the right kind of people. You have to have the right kind of counselor. And so again, we have to make sure that we get that access and get that knowledge and get that, information out there to the people that, hey, these are the organizations that provide mental health counseling.
Right.
Because I guarantee you, a lot of people don't know that Bethesda does that. Like I say, I didn't know it until I went.
I didn't know it.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
teach healthcare, so I did not know that. Thank you.
Yes, they do. So yes.
Wow,
Yeah,
good
Rubye.
information to know, because resources are, we, with the forum, certainly, talking about the issues, but resources are really what we want to be able to share with people
Exactly.
at the end of everything.
Yeah, I think Ruby's got a question for you.
All right, we're back to the money question. So, yeah, so in February, the council approved $150 million public improvement district
Yes.
project in Northwest Tyler. I think
Yes.
it was like 538 acres,
Yes.
and was sold to a developer, and that's between Sam's Club and
Yes.
the Cascades, and a portion of that area is in your district, correct?
All of that area is in my district.
All of that area is in your district.
All of it.
All righty then. So, number one, what are your feelings about this transaction? Number two, how will this benefit your district and the overall economy? And three, what is the development going to consist of? Is it business? Is it residential, combination? So whatever order you take those questions.
Can you see the excitement on my face? I'm telling you, this project, well, first of all, this is one of these things where has never been done in the city of Tyler. This is the first time
Really?
that the city of Tyler has ever approved a PID. It's called a Public Improvement District. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it did not come with some, now I wouldn't say opposition, but some hesitancy, because it's kind of like we've never done that before. And so we had a lot of research. We had, we met with different people about it, found out about it, how it works, how it benefits the city. And I'm telling you, when you start seeing the dirt turning next to Sam's Club, you're going to see some exciting things coming to this side of town. I cannot tell you what's all coming. But I can
Secret? It's a secret?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of the businesses don't want to, they don't want to put it out there yet that they're going to be coming yet.
Oh, okay.
But some things are in the works. Some very popular places are going to be coming to this area, and it's not just going to be. It's going to be retail. It's going to be housing. It's going to be entertainment, and we're even looking at probably a hotel. Those are some of the things that we're looking at.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, it's going to be an amazing project. I am so excited that it's in District 2. And because one of the things that people complained about when I was running, we have nothing to do on this side of town. We have to drive south for everything.
That is true.
So guess what? You won't have to do that for much longer.
So what's
the approximate time frame?
Well, I would probably say they're already doing some work there now. You probably can't see it, maybe behind the trees, but I would probably say give it another month or two and you will start seeing probably a little bit more activity over there.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Oh, are there any Black-owned businesses in the mix?
Well, Right now, I haven't
Exactly.
heard as far as all the ones that have actually, contacted Provident about different sites over there.
Mhm.
But as far as minority contractors, they will
Mhm.
definitely be, a part of the project. We've
So
already made that very clear that we want minority contractors to be a part of this bid.
what about when you say residential, is it going to be various kinds of incomes?
Yes,
Or
it is. Yes,
Okay.
it is. Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
Will be
Sounds pretty good. Well, LaRhonda has some tough questions for you now.
a tough question.
Yeah,
Oh, Lord.
yeah. Okay. So how would you assess the current state of relations between the Black community and the police? And it's two parts. And what areas need improvement, and how will you go about improving the areas that need work?
Now, you mean just the relationship between Tyler, or are you talking about nationwide?
No, we're talking about Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler is, you know what, and I can honestly say, I think that our police department has a very good relationship. We don't have a lot of, you don't see Tyler in the news like a lot of other cities about, police brutality or being mistreated and things like that.
Right.
And the reason being because the council is very involved in that, and we hold those leaders accountable for what goes on in our city. And so as far as what can be done, a while back, I guess before the George Floyd incident and other things that were going on, you know, a lot of people were meeting. We want to meet with the police office. We want to meet with the departments. All these different groups wanted to meet with the police department. And I said to myself, I said, you watch, in a few months, those meetings won't be happening anymore. And that's exactly what has happened. So what's going to happen is we're going to have another major crisis to happen somewhere else. Then all of a sudden, then we all try to pull together. Well, we need to start meeting with our elected officials or our police department. That's something that needs to be going on an ongoing basis.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's once a quarter, whatever group decides to do it, they need to meet with law enforcement and say, hey, what new programs are y'all doing, or what can we help with?
Right.
What issues are you having in our community that we probably can assist you with?
Right.
And so
And
those are things that need to be done. We're too reactive, and I hate to say that, but we're too reactive instead of being proactive. So we got to be
absolutely.
proactive in these issues to where when they come up, we've already established a good relationship with our police chief or with our sheriff, to where when they see us coming, it's not a surprise. It's like, hey, we've already been working on this.
Absolutely.
This did not catch us by surprise. We already know what's going on, and we're going to address it.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you heard that I have chartered the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice here in East Texas.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that, we plan on doing. I've already spoken with the chief of police and the mayor and a couple others, that we planning on having a Zoom, and maybe Marilyn, and maybe there's something that we can get involved in as a league as well.
Yeah, that's
yeah, it is. Yeah, everybody needs that because it affects everyone.
Yes,
it affects everyone.
And I had another one for you. What value do you place on community-oriented policing?
Community-oriented policing?
Police officers work in the neighborhoods, especially working in neighborhoods that they are familiar with. Do you think it's best for them to work neighborhoods that they're not familiar with? No, what value do you base on?
A lot of value. And the reason I say that is because when you have a beat officer and that officer knows his community, I think he can get a better relationship. They will be more apt to tell him, hey, this is what's going on in our community and we don't like it. Versus you seeing somebody different every week. Well, who are you? I'm Officer so-and-so. I'm this, like I know who my beat officer is for my area. And usually whenever I host a town hall or whenever I meet with different groups, he normally comes with me, or he's normally there himself. And so they know him. They know Officer Gardner. They know who he is. And so he gives them, I don't know if he gives them his number, but they're very familiar with him.
Yes.
So I think it's very important for these communities to identify a beat officer, and that officer is the one that takes care of that area, because people become more familiar with them. So yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of value on that.
Absolutely. It's really necessary to establish that rapport
It is.
where they're not afraid of them, they trust
Exactly.
them.
Yep, they trust
And
it. That's what it boils
yes.
down to. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good. All right, Tammy has a question. You're
on mute.
You're muted.
I'm sorry. My husband would probably like that feature. Out of respect for your time, I'm going to combine my last two questions into one.
Okay.
As you know, we are the League of Women Voters, so voter
Yes.
turnout, voter engagement is very important to us, as it is to you. We had a very high turnout rate in 2020 election here in Smith County, as in most places in Texas and nationwide, higher than generally. But as you know, local elections are so critical to our daily lives, and yet we always suffer very low turnout rates.
Right.
So what can you do, or what do you think the community do to emphasize the importance of local elections? And also is, how can we emphasize to our community that their vote counts?
Well, yeah, this last election was historical, because when I ran in 2018, the total number of people that voted was about 600 out of about 10 to 12,000 registered voters in District 2. Now, this particular time, we had probably maybe 3,000, which is not bad, but it's not good either. It's still not good.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. It's not enough. And so what we need to do is, I mean, and we've been doing it. And I don't know, maybe you guys can help me come up with something, but just trying to encourage people to realize the importance of the local elections, because the local elections are the people that make decisions about you. I mean, as far as what goes on next door to you, or what goes on behind your house, or what goes on in your neighborhood or in your community. And I think people know that, but I think they just don't. They just still feel like it's not important. And I don't know. And I'm kind of at a loss as what we can do, because I think we've been trying, to do that. Now, hopefully, with everything that's kind of happened here lately, with the election being in November, now we're getting ready for another election in May, and I think people are going to why we just had an election in November.
Mhm.
It's a whole different group, a different group or whatever for a city council, and I think we just need to, do more advertising, and I don't know if you guys do that or not. When y'all have Zoom meetings, or when you have presentations, do y'all really talk about, the importance of local elections and how important it is to get people out to vote? But, I don't know. We just, it's kind of it's a tough one.
Maybe that's something we might want to tackle, as far as kind of deciding, I don't know what you'd call it, news bites, or not necessarily a forum, but maybe we should consider,
I think it needs to be
things posted about, weekly, every other week, something.
Yeah, and it needs to start now, because we're in the month of March. This is going to be coming up in 2 months.
Yeah.
So this is the time to be talking about it. Yeah.
Right.
This is the time to be talking about it. And then your other question was about, as far as their vote count. Again, we just got to get them to the polls, number one. If we can I think if we get people to the polls and they see where, maybe that's something they voted for passed or whatever, and they can say, well, maybe my vote did count. And I know everybody think, well, my vote is just one vote. Well, but if you have 10,000 people saying, well, there's only one vote, that's 10,000 votes. that we could
I
have
think
had.
Forums are also important. We have the Vote 411, which you participated in last fall, where we're asking people that are running specific questions. And I think it helps to get education, to align with the voters on what their self-interests are. And it really has so much to do with people like you and other people that participate and coordinate with us to be able to inform the people that are voting on, what exactly is out there and how it can help improve their life.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
We've been trying for a long time to help people understand that it's personal. Find something that's personal, tied to them, that
Exactly.
gives them
Right.
a reason to vote. So,
Right, exactly.
well, Councilman McGee, we really appreciate you joining us today. It's been fun to have this conversation.
Sure, thank you.
Do you have any last thoughts you'd like to share with us before we?
No, the only thing I can say is that I appreciate your organization, and that I'm just hoping that this year, maybe we'll see a bigger turnout in our local elections. And, and I'm pretty sure it will be, if we do, more credit to you guys for getting the word out. And so I'll do whatever I can to help, anything I need to serve on, any forums or whatever. So let's do it, and let's make it work.
Okay, we've got that in
Awesome.
video. So
You sure did.
Absolutely.
Right.
We got that in writing, as they say.
Right.
Thank
Okay,
you so much.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Y'all have a good day. Take care.
I am too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.